You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Hey there, and welcome to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Anna. I'm here with Paul, and today we are here to talk about another years in adventure games. Now, I say years because in our line of research, we were looking at 1986, and we thought, well, gee, there's just not as many cool games as 1987. Now, hang on. Don't send that nasty email just yet. I'm sure there's a lot of great ones, and hopefully we're going to cover them. But we're also going to cover a few in 1985, and we're also going to dip a little bit into 1984 as well, just to add a little bit of spice.
Yeah, no, that's all the things. That's well done. I'll make it worse, right? So let's do a quick start. That feels too soon, right? I'm cold. This is a cold start. I don't know how to just. I gotta say things to derail this conversation before you get it back on track, and then we do the episode.
Mission accomplished.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. I feel good. So back to the getting to the start thing. Beautiful. Okay, we decided to do the year thing because on one hand, there's an absolute ton of games from 1986, but on the other, let's not be a dick about it. There's not a lot of games from. I mean, there's that we want to kind of reminisce about and talk about. Remember, it's like if it's only so much use a game has if we don't have experience with it, right? Because then you guys know the drill. Then we're just like, yep, that's a game people like, and nobody wins. I mean, you're gonna get some of that later from me, probably, maybe even Anna too. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, so we decided to add 84 and 85 in the mix because I think it's a big ask of you guys too. If we started extending this whole series and just milking it back to like Pong or whatever, and a year at a time, that's not cool. So you the listeners know we're doing the grouping these years together. We're gonna group the early 80s together, and then we're probably gonna group. Two clumps of the latter 90s together, and then we're done this whole thing, maybe, probably. So, and do you want to do this like chronologically? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think we're going to start back in 1984 and looking at, like, there's a lot more games here that I have played than I thought back in 1984. Now, I'm a couple of years older than you, but surprisingly, we've played a lot of the same games even from that year. Now, also, I probably would have gotten any game at least 3 to 4 years after release because our family was like that. We don't buy things when they're out brand new. So maybe that made our timelines line up a little bit.
Yeah, our timelines, I think they line up a bit for two reasons. In this case, with like console stuff, and we'll get to it, but one of the ones that you might just think about would be like Marble Madness. Is my brother being older than me, older than you as well, but still bridges that rather small gap to where, like, he would have got Marble Madness and then I would have had it by the time I knew how to play it. And then I think with a lot of the early adventure games, some of which we're going to cover today, we had the 2GS and Mac for a while before switching to PC, and so kind of the same as you. We had to wait to get the 2GS port.
Yeah, okay. And when I was a kid, the only friends I had that actually played computer games had Macintosh computers. So I ended up playing, I think it was called Mousetrap or something, and all these other games on the Mac that I never would have come across if all I ever had access to was an IBM. So there's a little bit of crossover there too.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, there's a couple of little weird cult classic Mac games like Glider and Crystal Quest and such. But yeah,
Crystal Quest. Oh yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that.
The greatest sound effects in any game ever. Did they port that to DOS?
No, I played that game now maybe you guys will think this is a cool story. So I'll just move over here for a sec to say, back at my rec center when I was a kid in the early 1980s, they had a computer area, and it was a room set up with 30 computers and a guy at the front, and there was Macs and there was IBMs, and then there was a row of games for each ones, and the big 5.25-inch floppies, and then you could pay per 15-minute chunk or per hour chunk, and you would just play whatever games you wanted out of the discs on any system you wanted. So many of these games, like Crystal Quest and all these random games that I never, ever, ever would have come across at home, I was able to play. And of course, in my head, I'm like, oh, I played it as a kid. I must have finished it. But if I played it there, I probably only put the 15 minutes into it that my dad would have given me, because we'd be done swimming. He'd be like, here's some cash, go play some computer games for a while. And he'd go and, wander around and have a coffee or play a game himself. So yeah, a really cool experience. I wish that stuff like that existed now, like a giant room of computers and anybody can play any game they want. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that was, I think, the vision of the future for like 10 minutes, right? Maybe in like 93 or something, or earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The
It
internet
was. They
cafe
even.
kind of.
It was, it was like it was a total social event, except of course you were not allowed eating within 3 meters of the door. There'd be a guard yelling at you, no food, no drinks, no magnets.
Yeah, no cheese-related snacks. That's a bummer. It's a bad time. Yeah. So it didn't work. Here we are, almost prophetically. Except for that's not how, prophetic things work at all. It doesn't work in hindsight.
Look at all the colors. Marble Madness. I didn't realize it was on NES as well. See, I didn't know how many of these different systems some of these games came out on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's fair to say there was a lot less games back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the farther back we go, the more of like a widespread porting we're seeing, where it's like, a lot more safe bets and a lot less developers, a lot less options for even publishers, I'd imagine, or even developers with a voice, let's say, because it's 6 weeks by mail. I mean, it's going to take a while to even try and get a hello in an interview.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, anyway, so yeah, we're on 84 officially, and I've got my little best of list here, and everybody knows it's just adventure games. So before I just kind of just yell those at people the whole episode, for 84, is there anything constantly going on? Because I mean, Nintendo this is like a boom, right? It's like the birth of Nintendo. These 3 years we're covering right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, Excite Bike was out. I had a friend who had Excite Bike, and back in the day, we used to, I don't know, maybe do hot knives, play Excite Bike. But I thought that was a fun Nintendo console game.
Love that game so much. Yeah, no, that game's still fun. That's like the one when I plugged in the mini NES that I played the most. Like for the novelty factor when you have an NES plugged in, mini or not. Yeah, that's a bloody go-to.
What else came out in that year? And I'm trying to think Nintendo in that year. I'm not super familiar with the Nintendo games that started coming out a little bit later, like 1985.
You don't have to do
Karateka. No, that's ours. That's PC. We'll have to talk about that.
It's ours.
Oh, 1942. I spent a lot of time with 1942. That was a Nintendo game, right? It was the airplane one.
I don't know, but that's what I'm going for. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said Nintendo. I should say bring up any games that I wouldn't know much about now, and that's what you're doing. So
that's what I'm doing.
Keep it up. Yeah.
Well, 1942 is a great flyer game. I liked the progression. I liked the shooting. I liked the extra cool weapons you could get, and then I liked the bosses at the end. Summer games that's PC, but you must have played summer games, right?
Yeah. I played a lot. Played a lot of NES games for sure because we had my brother had one, so it was like one computer, one TV, one NES, and ultimately three boys in the house. So it was kind of a rotational thing. I had last pick, I guess you'd say. So and limitations as well based on guidelines. Time-related guidelines and such, protocols such as teeth brushing, baths, things like that. It was
being a human.
It was a dictatorship. Yeah, I grew up largely oppressed. No television after 8 p.m. Rules. It was ridiculous.
Oh, you had that too? I even had like bedtimes and shit. It was horrible.
Yeah, no, just the absolute
So
worst.
many rules. That was, I mean, don't get into it. But for me, it was religion, sort of in rules and things. It was all, I think I was just saying actually to James earlier today that I really was lucky that I got so much self control growing up, having to not just within life or anything else, but also just with the video games and having to be able to delay gratification. I think all of that was really, really great training for being an adult.
Yeah, adventure games will teach you patience. Any video game will essentially because you know not just patience but perseverance and resolve.
Hmm.
If the game's good enough, right? It'll
Hmm.
bring that out in you. So that's
Like
bloody
Tetris,
magical. Yeah.
which is another 1984 game.
Um. Fantastic. Great job. Because I did that earlier. I'm like Crystal Quest. Well, bam, that's 87. Then I'm like Shufflepuck
Hmm.
Cafe. That's 88. Maybe I didn't say that one because I looked up the date. Yep, that's what happened. Well, now I did. Um,
I do want to bring up Karateka, though. I'm sure at least some of our listeners must have played it. You can even play it now. You can download it as an app, and it's quite faithful to the original with music and gameplay, although a heck of a lot faster than it was back when we were kids. I don't know if you've played that one, Paul.
sorry, that was a gross water sound. And if I lost a few listeners over that, I understand. I don't know what happened there. The water's got alkaline in it for what it's worth. I'm not sure if that's symbiotic or whatever, but I'm not serious. Karateka is
Is that
bloody
how you spell it? Say it.
Jordan Karateka? Karateka.
Oh. So
Karataka.
I've always pronounced things funny, so I've always pronounced
Karataka?
it Karatika. Karatika. I
Karateka.
don't know.
Karateka? There's a lot of options.
Karatika. That's how I usually pronounce it, which I don't think is right, but I was just like karate, right? So I was like Karatika, I thought.
Is it tech, teak? Tech, I guess those are
Help
the only
us
two
out here.
options. Yeah.
Because technically if you go by the rules of phonics, and not everybody does, there's one consonant between the E and the A, which would make the E long, which would make it Karatika.
But is that English only?
Yes, and that's why I've always been hesitant on my pronunciation of the
Oh, right.
game.
But the it
Yeah.
was translated to those letters, though, right? So if they didn't want us to
Yes.
use the rules of English, they would use different English letters.
Well,
Listen,
true
this is
enough.
all very educational, but I'm going to have to move us forward.
Anyways,
So,
great game though. It's got a bird that attacks you. It's got a twist ending. There's no better a game out there. It's a great precursor to a lot of the, Mortal Kombat and other fighting games, if you ask me.
yeah, exactly, and it's Jordan Mechner, his
Mhm.
his his thing, and that's I know him better from Prince of Persia.
Prince of
Um,
Persia. Hmm.
Obviously being just amazing, possibly up there with my favorite non-adventure games, classic wise. But for
Hmm.
Karateka, it's fine. I had an aversion to like karate stuff growing up because I don't know, there was a
Hmm.
lot of it. Yeah, as you know, it was like karate was like a
Hmm.
big thing in this era.
It
There was
was.
there was a kid. You got your Karate
There was
Kid.
this
You got your
kid. Yeah. There's
um,
car waxing. There's all sorts of things.
yeah, exactly. So just I had an aversion for whatever reason. It just wasn't my thing. Definitely more like sci-fi, I guess, kind of thing. So yeah, I never really got into it. I did like Prince of Persia though, which is
Hmm.
not karate. So there you go. Checks
No,
out.
that's nice. There's a
Consistent.
strategy guide for that. I have the I have the strategy guide for Prince of Persia. It's great. It's got a lot of original drawings by Jordan and some really cool stuff in there. Nice that
Awesome.
stuff's still floating around out there.
Yeah, it is, and it makes me happy. Hand printed stuff.
Hmm.
All right, I'll jump
Hitchhiker's
in here.
Guide to the Galaxy. That's one.
There
I'll
we.
throw in that last one before you go, unless it's on your list.
No, that was just beautiful. I was just about to jump in with that, so it was just
Oh,
just
good.
just just
Okay.
magic. This is a real
We each have stories. Give me your Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy story, and then I'll give you mine, whatever yours is.
mine's a long story.
Good, good. Mine too. Good. That's the rest of the episode. We're just going to talk about this games, guys. Sorry. You
Yeah.
said it would be how long?
So
Okay.
so for my side, I just played Leather Goddesses of Phobos. This is not long ago, a
Mm-hmm.
year or two, and I was talking to Anna about it, and I think Rick too at the time, and and Hitchhiker's Guide came up, and Anna expressed how just punishingly difficult it was, and I never played it. That's the end. It's not
I
your
like
fault at
that
all. I was
story.
not about to. I didn't have it in me to back text adventures. It wasn't gonna happen anyway. So yeah, that's not on you. I just there was no way I was doing back to back text adventures. Hell no. Yeah. As much
Yeah,
as I
you
loved
need
it,
at
don't
least a
get me
year or
wrong,
two in
but I have, I
between.
have
I get
way
that.
too many graphic adventures to play. What was that? Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just, yeah, no, good game. Leather Goddess of Phobos, good game too. Thanks to a good friend of ours, Roberta from the Classic Gamers Guild. I now
What's that?
have in my hands, in my very hands, a copy of Leather Goddess of Phobos with, scratch and stiff card and all.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Roberta's the
But
best.
so
I've got.
you haven't played it yet, is your point? So your story's invalid. I'm going to move to my story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's fair.
Okay. My story is I was a huge fan of Douglas Adams growing up. I started reading the books early, and then in grade 6, my librarian, Mrs. DeWitt, it turns out she was a real fan as well. Plug for why schools should still have librarians. Anyway, so she lent me So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and then I ended up reading the Dirk Gently books and all the other stuff, and then I had no idea that there was a computer game for it. And in about 1987, because I know the game came out in 84, my dad's good friend gave him a copy of this game with no box, no nothing, just like on a disc, and said, "Here, give this a try." And I remember we spent a number of months, my dad and I, playing the game, trying to get through arrogant doors, and I'm not even sure at the time I even finished it until later on when they re-released it on BBC. Go there, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on BBC.com, and they
Nice.
released it again with graphics, static
Other BBCs
graphics,
are
but
available.
still graphics. Yeah, you can you can look around and stuff, and it's really cool. And now I also have the big box as well as the button and the Space Fleet and the ball of fluff. Anyways, it's got all the little goodies with it. The pin, it's lovely.
That was such a neatly told story too. You're good at this. All right, I get it. I mean, my story was about the same length, and it went nowhere. That was like I laughed, I cried kind of thing. It was a roller coaster.
It was
Um,
lovely. It was good game though. Anyways, great. No, okay. Did I say that? I didn't complete it till I
no,
played
it's
it
gonna.
later. I might have said it wrong. I meant to say I still have yet to entirely have completed the game to this day. Please tell me I should. I mean, I know I should. I'm sorry that I haven't. This is horrible. It's so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Do you where are you at with the like? Do you want to just walk through it, or do you want to like really finish it?
No, I really, that's my problem. I'm absolutely refusing any kind of a walkthrough. And that's why I keep making it about halfway through the game and then I keep not finishing it. Same with Bureaucracy. I don't know if that came out. I think that might have even come out in the year or two around there, but it's
Right.
the other text game by Douglas Adams. And it's even harder, as funny as it is. And I have certainly never finished that one. There.
Yeah, I love the idea of that game because of Douglas Adams, but um, the reality is I'm not sure I'll end up playing it because I mean,
Mm-mm.
yeah, maybe hopefully one day, blah blah blah, kind of thing. Like uh,
Mm-hmm.
in the case of in the rare event of immortality or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Put
otherwise,
it on the list.
yeah, because there's other wow, there's other Infocom games that I would rather play first.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if that's not first
Understood.
on the list of text adventures, then we are
Mm-hmm.
in bloody trouble. Trouble. So anyway, all right. So I'm gonna be of use for this episode since I told a story that didn't go anywhere and have just kind of let you talk about games I don't know much about. Um,
Yeah, you better
um,
jump in because I'm not going to shut up. I'll keep going. I was pretty
um,
nerdy.
I had such a good transition. I just ruined it because bloody Trinity came out in 1986. Speaking of Infocom
Oh.
games that I would rather play than the Goddesses of Phobos. Ah, man, I
Ooh,
should I
okay.
should I should I should edit that to make myself sound. I'm not gonna. I don't care uh, that much at all, literally. But man, what an opportunity was missed. Anyway, people, before I drop another ball, Trinity was Brian Moriarty's game. Well,
Mm.
actually,
Hmm.
I was just about to say first game, and I don't have a ground on which to stand to say that, so it might not be because I think he did 2 or 3 games with Bloody Infocom, but Trinity sounded the most. I don't know, the most fun to me, most interesting um, of them all. So yeah, there was that game, and then I'm gonna just kind of hardcore. I should say Brian Moriarty. By the way, I just googled it real quickly. His first game was Wishbringer the year before in '85,
Hmm.
which is also this episode. So uh, oh man, and I was supposed to go to '84. Yeah, I'm not good at this, but you know what, you guys, I'm not. You just you
Yeah.
do because you're still here.
Yeah.
So
You're
thanks, I
still
appreciate
here,
it.
or you're just joining us and you're leaving again. But either way,
Yeah,
welcome for
because
that
I'm
time.
first. All right, look, I'm gonna get it together. All right, I come good by the end of these, I guess. Maybe I feel like our listeners just mentally disagree to that, but that's also fair. Yeah, like I felt that energy, even though it's in the future. Um, okay, I'm gonna focus here for real. Enough about bloody Brian Moriarty and stuff in the future. As far as where we're at in this episode, for 1984, I want to just bring up King's Quest because it needs to be brought up, and it's a little bit muddy, a little bit confusing. So
Yeah, tell us all about this muddy, confusing land of King's Quest, because I had a hard time making heads or tail of what bloody year anything came out.
well, buddy, I'm glad you asked me after I kind of brought it up, but still, that was, was morally supportive. Uh, this is confusing, as you know, because it took me a while. I think you went to the bathroom over me looking this up earlier. Not in a in a private way. Now maybe I cut that. Nah, you can't bring up girls going to the bathroom. It's different. People get weird about that. I guess. Do they? Wait, are they like, wait, you mean I can get
I
weird
think it's
about it?
technically the same because everybody pees. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're good. And I think in your defense, you might have just got a water. I don't know. Listen, the
Uh,
point is, uh, King's Quest kind of kind of more came out in '83 than '84, but there's a haze around it. I'm not going to spend too much time on this episode because it's tempting. I could spend like a long time on my little best of list here for these 3 years. I'm gonna push through the Sierra stuff and just say that the PC, from what I gather, the PC Junior version did come out in July of '83, but it's kind of like more widely known as an '84 release, and that's why
mhm.
we wanted to bring it up this episode.
Because I was like, oh, okay. So I went and got my copy of. Sorry, as I move away from the mic here, I went and got my copy of King's Quest, but it was already popped to the new version, enhanced graphics and sound. It said Quest for the Crown on it, which I learned was a later edition, and as well, the date on the back was 1987. And me not being a nerd in the regard of knowing anything about versions was like, oh, it doesn't come out until this year. So I was happy to learn that wasn't the truth.
Yeah, it's still it's still pretty confusing. I mean, I'm not even confidently declaring it didn't come out in '84, but from what I gather, the PC Junior version did first come out in July '83. So, but the reason we're bringing it up is because the PC Junior version was done for IBM. Was basically Sarah was commissioned by IBM to make this game to launch PC Junior. Super long story short, medium sized story short, and and so like its initial release would have been, I'm imagining, exclusive to the PC Junior, right? So it was in '84
Mm-hmm.
that there was a PC Booter version came out. And so that was, although it was a booter, it was like the first widespread PC version. In '84, also the Tandy and Apple II E2C came out, and just because Anna had just brought up the box that she has where it has Quest for the Crown, and because '86 is in this episode, let's just lay this out there with the versions of
Mm-hmm.
King's Quest because it's I was chunky. I'm so sorry. Um, uh, why would I, make it so much worse with a word like that? I don't know, but
That's what people
King's
are here for. They're here for the flavor text.
Oof, yeah, adding flavor to that word too. Gross. Lung butter. The version you think with King's Quest is deeply nerdy, if not interesting. Well, it's one of the two. And basically, so 84 is where you get PC or Tandy or Apple, and then just the quote new version came out in 86. Again, that's part of this episode, and that was the PC, Tandy PC Junior, Amiga, Atari, the bloody works except for Apple stuff. And then the next year in 87, that's when it got labeled Quest for the Crown. And I could be wrong about this part. I'm going rogue, but I think the Quest for the Crown boxes had the 500,000 copies sold thing on it because,
It does.
by
Mine
then
has it right there. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a version of that box without it. I kind of maybe think there is, but I'm not sure. I should make a stand there so I can be told I'm wrong on which side I picked. There is. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm all done. That was a lot of King's Quest stuff. That's all we're going to cover. I'm not going to talk about the actual game, just the release of it, because it's King's Quest, and I don't.
Yeah, we know.
What
It's a game.
What do you want? Yeah, it's King's Quest. It's the pioneer, the first graphic adventure. Roberta Williams. We're getting back in 1978. Ken and Roberta. Like, we're good. We have tons of episodes for that. We're not putting it down. Go check out our interview with Roberta, for example. I mean, Ken's there too. It's a good time. It's amazing. But yeah, that's all we got to say about that. I don't even want to. I don't want to even talk about my experience with it because it's like I don't even want to judge that game. It's like it is what it is. It's really old.
It is. It's really old. I played it with the walkthrough. I'm not proud. I mean, I'm not proud. It just is. I played it with the walkthrough. So
yeah.
I played it. So that's
when you play it, you're like, they're gonna get good. They're gonna get good at this, and they did. But that's all.
I do want to bring up briefly Drug Wars, only because I find it an interesting game in that I don't know if you know about it, but it's essentially like a text-based game where you're buying and selling hard drugs on the black market. And I find it funny because I remember coming across it at some point later on and thinking it was a novelty. But a few months ago, I came across a DVD game of Drug Wars that you just play in your DVD player. And it's based on the same game, but they did it with live action, and it was originally in arcades. And it's, the terrible acting where you're trying to shoot a guy before he takes off. I didn't realize they remade it. But anyways, it originally came out in 1984, and there it is. It was pretty hardcore for its day, considering the subject matter.
Yeah, it looks it. Yeah, these are fun to Google. I feel like that's a suggestion at the beginning of the first episode of the first year thing that we did that we should have said is like, hey, these might be ideal to if you put these on when you're just effing off on your tablet or laptop or whatever, because it is fun to Google along to the things that at least you say, because they bring up
Google
very colorful. Yeah, Google along. They pull up very colorful pictures.
Yeah. Games like Mind Wheel, the pictures themselves inside the game aren't really as colorful, but there are some, rudimentary graphics as far as pictures go and ideas. But yeah, text games are really big in this year. There was a lot of that.
Yeah, really I mean, you say something like Mind Wheel, in the context of it's like this 1984 computer game. Like, how could you not want to see what that looks like?
Right, it's wild. And cover art, oh my god, like in the 1980s, cover art is lit. I don't even know what to say. Ooh. Like, there's so much beautiful cover art happening in this time period, which makes the back of the box slightly more disappointing at times, but the cover art, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, cover art, it has big hair energy.
So does. Even like the skeletons and stuff are just so much more epic, and there's so much more realism and yet fantasy art kind of combined. It's lovely.
Yeah, heavy fantasy and just crazy high detail, and it is amazing.
So do you have any more in 1984? Because all I really gave to you was, here's King's Quest, here's a thing about versions. Do you want to talk about anything else before we move to 85?
Donald Duck's Playground. Yes.
Yes. Oh, is that 84? Hang on.
Yes. Well, check me if I'm wrong.
You check it, or okay, it's again, it could be my version. I have it in the box, but it says 1986 on the back of my box.
All right, let's bloody. Oh, right. You have to. You have to specify it's a point and click adventure game where you're going to pull up half of the internet.
Because if anybody here has listened to my interview with our interview with Al Lowe, I bring up Donald Duck's Playground right away as being really important to me. It was essentially the first pre-adventure adventure game I'd ever played.
So the information I'm getting is it came out for Commodore 64 in '84. That's too many fours,
Interesting.
and uh, it wasn't until '86 that everything else got the port, like Atari,
That's
Amiga,
why, because I have the
Apple.
Tandy. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Does that mean Winnie
yeah,
the Pooh and the 100-Acre Wood is the same? Because my version is 1986, but it's also a Tandy version.
which the version, did I send you a disc of that, the yellow disc?
The yellow disc.
It's a 5.5 floppy, and it has, I think, a yellow and blue label. I don't know if I sent you Donald
No.
Duck
Oh
or
yes,
Mickey
yes you
Space.
did. I have it. I have it right here in front of me. It was. Hang on, it's
Which
right
one was
here.
that? Because that was not PC. I don't know if it was C64, but it was
Yeah,
definitely. I think it was that
I
or
think
Apple.
that or Apple or which one was it? Or was it Tandy?
It was really hard to get an image of. That's what it was. I remember that.
Hmm. See,
Well,
these noises are classic computer game boxes opening. This is really an important noise here.
yeah, that's why
Oh, I didn't put it
it's
back in the box. So yeah,
excusable
I don't know
that
what
was
yours
well
is.
said.
Yes. No, I don't know what your version is. I don't have it on me here. So
Okay, well, that's fair. I
I have it
mean,
on my little display cabinet. I
I
should have
feel
been
like
more prepared, you see.
well, that was random to throw at you. But yeah, so
Hang
Donald
on
Duck's
now.
Playground.
I'm just going to
It's
say that as I opened up my box, I will give you your story on your game in a second. But I forgot when I met Al Lowe, I brought my original label from my 5 1/4 with me for Donald Duck's Playground. It's yellow and it's beautiful, and I had Al Lowe sign it. So I just
nice.
remembered it when I opened up the box and saw it in there. Go on.
Yeah, lovely little surprise memory. Yeah, I don't know if a memory can surprise you. I guess so. If you remember a memory, remember a forgotten
If you
memory.
have memory
Look,
problems, it would. I'm like, yay.
exactly. I almost said listen, but yeah, I'm trying real hard this episode not to say it. I shouldn't have brought that into the realm. Donald Duck's Playground. I just want to say before we move on, it's a really cool looking game. Like if you just look at screenshots, it'll give you anybody that's a fan of the Sierra AGI games. It'll give you that same vibe, that same same palette, same yeah, just same vibe. But it was also fun. The sorting the fruits off the truck bit is a good time.
Mhm.
I don't care how old
It
you are.
is catching the fruit, and I mean, that's
Yeah.
satisfying. It was more satisfying than the sorting the toys on the shelves with a ladder, I found.
Yeah, the fruit one's kind of the only one I'll have even the bravery to pitch as fun as an
Hmm.
adult because it totally
Yeah,
is. The other
it
two, I'm not
totally
gonna
is.
lie to you, they were not fun as an adult in
No,
2021.
no. But
I'll
I
let you
do
know. I'll
like the
update you
fact that
though.
this. Oh, please. Yeah, no, in 2022, let us know. But yeah, I love the fact that the game not only has you playing games to earn money, but that you're earning money for a purpose of pleasure being your own playground to have that's all decked out. I mean, it really does give you the whole system. It's like an early points reward system.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it was really well done. Yeah, the luggage sorting's right. Still looking at the screenshots. All right. Well, anyway, that's 84. Let's do 80.
Yeah.
The 80 next one. 85.
Yes, and then the audience can shout, "Wait, but you've missed!" And I know, and we will talk about it, whatever it is, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because we're gonna
Another
miss
time.
some. Yeah,
We are.
it's
We
okay.
are. So now this is 85. You tell me. What don't I know in 1985?
Um, King's Quest 2 came out. I feel like you knew that though. So
I might
that's
yeah. I might have the box right here. Yeah, wait. Yep, there it is right there next to me.
but no, 85 is fun. We got Carmen San Diego, the original.
Mhm.
Where in the world? Was that
Where
the
in
original?
the world is
Right?
Carmen San Diego?
Like I know the first Carmen Sandiego came out this year. I just can't. It is Where in the World was the first one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The one that they made the awesome a cappella music show where I first learned about what a cappella music was. And then I became absolutely obsessed with the band that did the music in that show for ages. I wanted to sing them with them. And I just thought they were awesome.
I just wanted to
I
sing
think
them.
they were called rockapella. Yeah. Rockapella, something like that.
Nice. Good facts. Nice stuff. All right. I have nothing of that sort, but I have more games to this. Deja Vu came out, so that's we're heading a little bit under the Mac territory there. I think it's part of the Mac Venture series. There's the word Mac in it, just throwing that out there. But yeah, we got Ultima 4. Can't forget Ultima 4s. It's a specific Ultima 4. Can anybody guess which one of the specific Ultima 4s it is? All right, that's not how podcasts work. Well, I don't know because I didn't write it down because I don't know Ultima very well, and you guys know that. All right, we remembered to bring up an Ultima. God, I hope there wasn't one in '84. But yeah, Ultima 4 came out. That's enough. It just had words next to it. It was probably the name of it. Why'd I even bring this up? I could have got the cool points for just saying Ultima 4. Damn it.
Yeah, I think it had like something to do with an Ultima 2 in 1984, something like that.
Yeah. I can't edit this too because it's Monday night, people. We have to get this thing out
this
before I
is
go
not.
to bed.
You are getting, this is what we have is what you have. Hear us interrupting each other, yet you will.
Yeah. Oh no.
All
Yeah,
right,
we're doing it live. There's even a little bit of lag here, and the lag is not the greatest for flow of conversation, but it doesn't matter. We're doing it live.
We're doing it. Well, my one of my sons is. I usually tell my kids to get off the internet too when I do a podcast episode. But he's hanging out, one of my sons, and gaming with a friend who hasn't seen in a long time, who's also the son of my best friend. So I have a soft spot. So I'm like, all right, I'll let you know if it's really terrible. So there's that.
Well, I think it's fine, but if it's not, everybody thank that kid. not your son, the friend, because the friend should have been there more often or something. I have the audacity.
All right, what else came out in this fabulous year of 1985?
No, I want to talk about
that
this
many
kid.
yet. Okay, damn kid.
I'm sorry.
It's lovely. I'd say if my friends actually listen to my podcast, it would matter, but I assure you, they don't.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a precaution that went through my head before I went out loud with that one.
Not at all. No, that's okay. They're just like, oh, right, more Anna. Awesome. No.
God bless you, background sneeze. Bard's Tale, that came out. That's I don't know it, but it's important to most other people in our groups.
I sent a copy of it to Kevin in the Classic Gamers Guild through the mail on a whim because I just found it randomly at a vintage sale. So I just was like, here, have this game.
Nice. See, that's good deeds. That's why you have a bunch of cool stories about finding awesome games for $5. It's coming back around. Yeah, that's all I got for 85 though. I kept it.
Wait, Black Cauldron, that's yours.
That's Black Cauldron's another one with weird year release issues because of booters and stuff like that. So I put it under 86. Where'd you put it?
Well, I have in my copy of Black Cauldron I have in my hand, which exciting story. I picked it up today on the way home from somebody selling it locally for next to nothing, and it has the map and everything in it. But anyways, it says 85 on the back. On the box.
It has 85 on the box?
It does.
Okay, cool. So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's the booter year.
This is Atari ST. This one.
Is that okay? Is that the box with the flap?
It is. It has no flap. It is just like a Sierra hard box on the inside. It says from the programmers of King's Quest, being that King's Quest came out 1 year before in 1984, and that's it. And it doesn't give you other choices. It's literally Atari ST 512K monochrome or color display. There's no any other systems compatible on the front of this. But no, definitely an 85er. And a beautiful box, a nice print from the game. I really like, I was reading a few of these to Paul earlier, but I'm going to give you guys another one. I think this is great. Over 30 different items to obtain and use. Like, that's pretty cool. You've got 8 different musical tunes and 17 additional sound effects. Like, come on, this is great. 1,020 cells of animation, 30 animated characters, 73 dimensional screens. As never seen before, listen to this. In 16 colors, you can watch as animated characters pass in front of trees, behind rocks, and around other characters.
Did you say around other characters?
I certainly did. And around other characters. This is the thing. It says it right there.
Man, thank you for smoothly not covering while I eliminated background noise and simultaneously looked for my Black Cauldron games ill successfully because it was I found one of the two because I have the one I'm looking for. I've got the a nice condition one with no flap, and that's it says 85 on the back, but I have the one with the flap, which I feel like is older. But how could it be older
Yeah,
than
because my
85?
other two, mine have, like, my Donald Duck's Playground has a flap in the front, and it's got the
Right.
plastic casing on the inside instead of a Sierra hard box. Same with my Winnie the Pooh. I know.
Yeah, I wish I was above that, but
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not.
I'm not. There was
Um,
also, in the same time period, there was a Wizard of Oz game put out. Let's see, what year was that of Oz? Because I would say I'm pulling this information from my brain, but I'm not. PC game.
well,
1985. So yes, I can accurately bring up The Wizard of Oz as a PC game in 1985 that I had the chance to play at a Tandy store on a sample computer. And I thought it was just the coolest game ever, but I don't think I've put more than 30 minutes into it because I never owned it.
yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it just hit me now too. This is the farther back we go, it does get more difficult to pin down exact releases because of certain exclusivity upon launch to different brands, right? Because there was a lot of people kind of competing in the computer market, right? Like PC actually
Mhm.
had competition in Tandy and Amiga and Atari and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. And so some of the accounts of the actual releases are surprisingly unfounded, like to a degree, where it's
Mhm.
like they just heard tell of it or somebody they accept it because it's what the company said, but nothing else actually proves it. It's just it's been interesting doing this whole series, but and then kind of seeing how things change the farther back we get, and then for the next episode, I think we're gonna jump drastically ahead, which will be kind of a fun contrast. But anyway, that being said, I'm spent on 85. That's all I got. So, are you good on 85? Do you want to do anything before we move to 6?
Yeah, I just well, I got to do a nod to Super Mario Bros. Because, like, it was
Yeah,
kind of a big deal.
I've
A
heard
lot
of
of
that.
people maybe played it. It was a thing. Did you hear it was like on this system called Nintendo?
Right? Yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
maybe that. Also, Gauntlet, which is another game that I probably spent too much time with.
Nintendo has
Thexter.
a button-based interface, I believe.
Yeah, Thexter is a 1985 game, at least the internet says it is. It's another game that I lucked into a big box locally on. Yes, please feel free to get jealous. Here I am in Victoria, BC, still finding big box games out in the wild for reasonable prices. This is another one. It is a beautiful box, and although a very difficult game by Sierra, it is one of the best games musically out there. Even if you have absolutely no interest in playing Thexter, go out and go on YouTube and just
Yeah.
listen to the tunes because it's freaking so good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very fair. That is
Hmm.
very fair. Yeah. Actually, I recall when we did the interview with Ken and Roberta. Ken had brought up how Thexter was like his foray into importing and like just how
Hmm.
huge that was to help Sierra on the rebound and stuff like that. That was one of the more interesting previously lesser heard tidbits right from that whole deal. That was pretty cool. It just reminded me of. But yeah, Thexter's awesome. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's lots of other ones I forgot, but we're trying to make this a reasonably short episode so Paul doesn't have to stay up till 3 in the morning getting it out there. So I think we can safely move on to 1986. If we've forgotten something you want us to cover, try to round up a few of them and send them off, and maybe we can make them into something.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right. Well, for 86, I've only got three, and I think I just lost Black Cauldron to 85. So,
You did.
so let me let you start first, so we have some more balance. You can start and finish it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna jump right into nostalgia land now. Cross country Canada, I am sure absolutely nobody here has
Here
played.
we go.
There's cross country US that you might have played, and maybe there's other maybe cross country Ukraine. I don't know, but I played cross country Canada, and you get to like drive as a trucker and use headlights and use windshield wipers and drive through the rain. Stop. You can pick up hitchhikers. You have to sleep at hotels, and you have to deliver goods from, like, for example, one province to another. You get to learn about who has what imports and exports. It's a edutainment game that I would never have played uh, if I hadn't have discovered it. Wait, now it says 1981 here. Oh, I see. So I played it on Apple. That's another one of those funny things. I played it on Apple by Diadeck Software back in the 80s, and it was ported to DOS in 1991. So I would have played it probably in about 1987, 1988.
So
Yeah, okay.
the original's from 81. Wow, it's really old. Okay.
No, the original's, 86 and then 91. Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
86, right? Not, yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'd heard of cross country before you, because, well, that sounds weird to like any new listeners, and as uh,
mhm.
Canadian. We don't like to bloody talk about it, but just
It's a thing.
I don't know. Sorry, I had to roll with it because I said it oddly shamefully. I didn't mean to. She's delightfully Canadian, but like half of my favorite comedians. They're the best. I grew up playing hockey myself, so I'm a little Canadian at heart. I guess I don't know. I'm not that
That's right.
picky about syrup. Does that rule me out? Doesn't matter. Look, the point is, I heard
Yeah.
about cross country road trips to Canada from LGR. I was in like LGR rabbit hole at the early COVID, and that's maybe even before COVID. Doesn't matter. But yeah,
Oh, so at least you know of its existence. Like, you're one up on like 99.9% of civilization.
yeah. Well, you know what? I think that percentage is it reduced to like 85 because of LGR. Well, look, that was
Mhm.
crazy gratuitous to anybody who actually just followed that math. and
Yeah.
the 700,000 views the video got, but you know what I'm trying to say.
85% of LGR's viewers that hadn't heard of it now know
Right.
about it.
Right, yeah. It introduced another million people, and of which maybe two listen to this show. Hey guys,
Mhm.
he is good. I know, right? Check
So,
out
yeah,
that
that
one where
game
he
was
finds
good.
Ken Fesey Jr. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I'm gonna do my one that I'm excited about, which is Space Quest. I won't talk long about it because I know, but Space Quest to our more Lucasy crowd, Space Quest is my Monkey Island, and I'm not saying that
Mm.
every LucasArts fan's favorite game is Monkey Island. That's just you get what I mean when you say it. Hopefully, this is the impact moment kind of game for me, along with Gold Rush and Fleece Quest One. It doesn't matter. The point is.
Mhm.
Is this is the year it came out, and I just wanted to mention, any sort of like, fun, more fun things about it. But I'll keep it really short and mostly just say that in '86 it did come out in '86, right? It's more like widely known would be the excuse me the '87 version, but the '86 was the year with the big box. Sorry, the black box, the kind of the kind of
Mhm.
more infamous in our super niche little circle, the black box
If
with the
you know,
86
you
version.
know.
Right, right, yeah. Man, they're really expensive. Um, I'm not even sure if I have the right to say that, right? Because the prices are kind of insane now. Jeez Louise, kind of got lucky, but anyway, it's that was the 1.0 X version, and this version is kind of neat. So if you happen to have this version, because it's not on GOG or Steam or anything like that, right? But if you physically have it or whatever the case is, 1.0x is the very first version, and neat that in the very first scene, I'm sure most of you guys know this, but in the very first scene, if you type in Ken as in Williams, then Ken walks out and berates, um, berates you guys for not having the game out on time. And he's drawn in a very unflattering way, and that's actually the shocking part, because it's like, I mean, you knew he was going to eventually see it. Jesus, guys, just that extra row of pixels is really what is the line. It's the insult. It's just that extra row, man. But and when the bounce when he walks, they gave his belly the same animation they gave Rosella's boobs a year later.
He did in KQ3 there, yeah.
No, not a year later. Same year. We're actually coming
Same
up.
year, I think.
Yeah, we're coming up.
I'm looking at my game box, but again, I think I have a later release because mine is again in 1987, but it has the over 500,000 sold on it again.
Right. And sorry. Now, before we just wrap up with Space Quest, I'll just say that I think what's kind of neat with Space Quest here is that the 86 version had a lot of differences between the other ones. Same deal with King's Quest, but there's just little things like the droids BS. Like it was droids RS in 1.0x, right, in its first version, 86 version. So like anywhere else, it's droids BS because they got threatened by a lawsuit. So just stuff like that, right? We can catch like a bunch of cool little things going on. And then the next year, new box art and blah blah blah. So all right, that's it. That's just all I'll do on Space Quest and done. There's so much more.
That's right. Yeah, because I have the box for it, but I have again the 1987 box. But that's also the 256 color version, but the 5.25 disc enclosed. But they also popped it, as you knew they always would, reuse their old boxes, so it's in the original box that they put out in 87 that was not for the updated 256 color version.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes they slapped that sticker on it, and sometimes they didn't either. It's just like, oh, all right. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's probably pretty hard to find. But yeah, then we could roll. I guess might as well just roll into King's Quest 3, since we just mentioned it. King's Quest 3 is the hardest King's Quest, I guess. I didn't play 7 or 8, but it's so
stressful.
hard.
Time limits, and the remake. If you're going to go and play it, if you've decided you're going to go play it, I think Infamous Quest, right? They did a remake or a redo on the game, and it's much nicer. And you can see the timer at the top of the screen, and it makes much more sense.
Yeah, and if you're like me, you're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna play the original." You know what? This time, past me, don't just don't just play the Infamous Quest one. Just this time. Kind of like I still haven't played Grim Fandango, and like I think I'm just gonna play the remaster because I don't have nostalgia for it or polygons
or tank
really.
controls.
Right,
That's
exactly. Oh, there you go. That's the hat trick.
It really is worth it to not go back to the original simply because of that.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah. King's Quest 3 came out. We've talked just so much about these that we're I'm kind of just moving past it first, but I mean. There's nothing really interesting versions going on, and it's a game that came out that year.
Well, I missed a 1985 game, right? I was going to bring up, was that before? The Wilderness game.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. There's a game, it's called Wilderness. It was brought out by Electronics Arts, which was actually at the time known as Electric Transit, which I thought was kind of a cool progression, but the thing actually comes in a book. Like literally holding this game in this book, I feel like the teacher would hand this to me at the beginning of a course and say, here is your coursework. Please complete this by the end of the school year. Because when you go through the book, it's literally like how you camp, how you survive, how you can read a compass, how to read, how to make. It's all very, very like survival tips and everything. And that's essentially like, and there's thousands of commands you can use in this game. It's really quite complex for what graphically looks like a very, very simple game with graphics along the same lines as your, the Black Cauldron or the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. It's a really fascinating game, right? Because it's I have a fondness for this one in particular, where it encapsulates such an awesome. Like it's called Wilderness, and that's what it makes it gets that feeling down really good because it has just the perfect like I don't know, your survivalness about it, in yeah, the interaction between the book in real life and the game and stuff. It's really cool. And then, since I try and get the nerd side covered, I'll say that there's like the North American version of this. So like if you found these discs at home and you have it, or I think for the most part online, like that's what you're gonna find and stuff is North American. Um, there's like inside the game there's this whole global version with just like tons of more like entire worlds that you can survive in, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
hidden, like not just locked but just like yeah, locked and hidden. So like you and I did this one night. I don't know if I'm proud of it or not, but I like you go into the wild exe and you get out a hex editor and you tweak
Mm-hmm.
just well, specifically, you tweak the 0031678 byte from 02 to 00, and that's all.
Mm-hmm.
And that changes the limited North American setting to the global one. So when you relaunch the
Hmm.
game, you have like 6 times the game. Like for real, there's like it unlocks, I think, like, or maybe not 6, but at least like 3 or 4 more entire places you can go survive, like
Oh, you're
other like
making sense.
islands. Okay, I got
Because
there.
when I
Phew,
got
took a
this
while.
game, when I got this game, it came with what looked like expansions, and there were three different discs, and they had different locations, but all three of them were copies, like copied onto a
Ah,
floppy. And I wondered about that because I'm like, where can you go to expand a game like this, or what can you do? I still have them here, right? I was just like, oh, that was super random because I got this, and I got Wizardry as well at the same time. I'm not quite sure what year that game came out, but probably around that same timeline. And again, it came with all the expansions and anything that would go with it, but all on copy discs.
that's yeah, okay. So and I guess it's funny. I left a note to myself, thank goodness. But I guess
Hmm.
in the North American version, like the full global version was in essence, I guess, kind of commented out,
Hmm.
with instructions for the opening screen to just display, a different opening screen, different splash screen where it says North America instead of global. But like
Hmm.
in the games folder, like there's a bunch of these CIM files, and they're all
Hmm.
different maps. And like
Hmm.
the version that we all have, or let's say that you have right now, it only lets you use one CIM file, and there's like a bunch more, and
Hmm.
like they're like, one of them's like Costa Rica or whatever. Like it's really cool. So I guess for anybody who is latched on caring, since you can do a quick rewind this, I'll just say just open the wild exe with a hex
Hmm.
editor and
Hmm.
change 0031667A. Change that byte from 02 to 00. That's it.
That's amazing.
So
That's
so
like
that
literally all it takes. They were just like, you know what, we can't complete this whole thing. Lock it down, pop it out.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't know
Hmm.
this like hex editors or anything, because I'm not like I'm not good with this kind of stuff either. But it's literally not hard. You just open with on the exe to a hex editor, look for where you see the number of that byte, and next to slash, maybe not directly next to, but around that byte, you're going to see a 02. Whatever you
Hmm.
see a 02, change it to a 00. That's it, and then you get the
Hmm.
whole other game. So yeah, that's super
I love
nerdy,
that.
but for hopefully just at least one of you maybe,
That's a
if
pretty
that
massive
was good to
Easter
one.
egg. I mean, people don't come to this podcast for the facts, but they come here for little tips and tidbits of information like that. For the one in a million that would find it useful, I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's a fun game too. If you haven't played it, check it out. If you like survival stuff, if you like text parser stuff, and if you like Carmen San Diego stuff, where
Mhm.
referencing materials in the physical realm while you're
Mhm.
playing the game, then it's a fun time. Sorry, I don't
Mhm.
know how else to word that.
Notice though, I totally stole the limelight away from King's Quest 3, subconsciously saying, we've talked about this game enough now, but we've never talked about this other one.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair, that's fair too. I'm still fatigued from playing it a year ago. So as soon as he came out, it's like, I don't know if you ever like just overate too something, like had too much of one dessert, and you're like, oof, man, like the thought of it now, I can't.
Ugh, too
Uh,
much.
yeah, it's just too much. Yeah,
But
great
yeah, I
looking
think
game though.
that covers most of my most important games that I can think of outside of little games that I caught. Bubble Bobble has been stuck in my head ever since 1986. Do 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 do
That's a
do
good
do
one.
do
That
do
is a
do do
good
do
one.
do
Yeah,
do
that's
do.
fun.
I love it.
Yeah, that one's
Castlevania,
awesome.
I probably spent a lot of time with Castlevania, or even Outrun, The Legend of Zelda, Kid Icarus, up, 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 die, great game. So there was some really cool console stuff, sort of a lot more that I was familiar with. Now, I said before this episode, I
Yeah.
said, we're trying to be quick. I'm not really going to hit any Nintendo stuff. And I think I've brought up Nintendo games for just about every year that we've talked about. So, Anna, I need to learn to zip it. I mean, not during the episode, before the episode, when I say what I'm going to do clearly.
No, well, I'm glad you did though, because I mean, people, I think they want to hear that. I don't know, like
I think so.
it's weird because right, it's for to our longtime listeners. It's like it's always kind of been an adventure game podcast. We just never really called it that. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just that's it's kind of my fault, I guess you don't want to say it, just because I don't bring much to the table else by it's not through obstinance or refusal, but through lack of experience, literally. So
If
there's that.
anything
But yeah, that
else.
being said, I don't even know if our listeners are like at this point. It's like, hey, I don't come here for that. All right, you guys never talk about that. I don't want to hear it. Or if it's like, hey, you're bringing up '84. How'd you not bring up Mario Brothers? Like, I don't know. But at this point, yeah, I don't think it matters. Everybody seems pretty cool.
No,
So one thing I don't want to
we're
forget.
still, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to forget. In '86, we got to hit the Lucasfilm. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with Labyrinth. It's just Labyrinth is so tricky because man, I hope I'm not about to talk out of my butt, but I'm pretty sure that it only came out for I think C64. I'll find at least that out, I guess.
Commodore
But the
64, Apple II, Commodore 128, MSX, and PC 8800 series.
okay, so there you go. It brings the
Very limited, though.
point I
Mm-hmm.
was making there is, or getting to there is, it's a tough game to emulate. All of those are tough to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
The Apple one is the only one of those that you listed that I've gotten. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess not tough because emulation it's all a pain in the butt, right? I mean, to listeners, which I'm sure there's a lot of you that mess with emulators, it's like, the deal. It takes way too long, and it's always frustrating because it feels like it should never be a thing, and it's always a thing. And then you get the game launched and you go to bed because you're tired. But like, um,
The fun is in the ride. We never,
yeah,
Paul, none of us actually play the game after we emulate it. What we do is the
right,
game, now that we're adults, is emulating the game. And then you're like, okay, now that I've got it running perfect, let me emulate another one. Like the
yeah.
emulating process being just making it work, not the playing. Oh
Yeah,
God.
and if that's your thing, if that is your thing, which again I know it's a lot of your things, that's a gross sentence. I'm sorry, everybody. Sorry to talk about your things. I'm just saying if that's your thing, Labyrinth is a good game to go play because yeah, you gotta emulate it on C64, Apple II, and it's doable.
Mhm.
And it'll only take an hour or two, but it's a literal hour or two, and it's gonna feel like it should have taken 10 minutes.
Kind of like King's Quest 8, really hard game to get to play. And then once you go through all the trouble to actually get it running, you're like, shit, I'm now playing King's Quest 8.
It amazes me that somebody hasn't buckled down and made a Windows 9X emulator. Where's it at, people?
Right?
What's
Oh,
going
that's
on?
the
We got
forgotten time.
yeah, exactly. We it's yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of hard to believe because it's difficult to emulate, and I know you can get it going through DOSBox, and I have, but it's man, it's a pain in the butt with the drivers. The drivers are the deal breaker there. It's just constant issues, even with your virtual sheep drives. It's a real pain in the butt. It just surprises me that there's. I guess what I'm saying is that, yes, I know that after enslaving for an hour and going to the Wayback Machine and getting drivers and blah blah blah, you can eventually get it on DOSBox. Actually, what I will say, somebody on YouTube has a zip file in their video description that is totally a plug and play.
Hmm.
But that's kind of my point. It's like, why isn't there just like an easy plug and play that's not through DOSBox because it doesn't run good. Just a Windows 9X thing for times like when we played the Blackstone Chronicles.
Yes,
Those
that would
those
have been another game
1998.
that was, yeah,
Yeah,
difficult. Very, very, that was the dark years of emulation for people
mm,
trying to go back there.
it still is. Yeah, we just need
Yeah.
that 9X emulator that would cover it. Where it's
Hmm.
just got
Get all that
tons
real
of
time, quick
drives.
time video stuff going, and yeah.
Right. Yeah,
And then
exactly. But
we need a Flash player emulator, right? I wanna put a frog in a blender on that joecartoon.com. I want to do all the old Flash player stuff that used to be out there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Homestar and everything like that. Yeah, it's kind of sad in a sense, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know there's people working on emulators for that. I'm not sure if they're out or not.
Yeah, because
Um,
I'm like, Flash Player has been such a big part of gaming on the internet. When the Flash Player disappeared, my son lost a long time emulated Pokemon game he had running on one.
well,
We
it's funny
have the
because
game, right? But, you know.
you have like the flash file.
No, I mean, we have the game physically
Oh, it
on
was
one of our,
emulating.
systems. So I was like, he was just emulating it on the computer because it's nice and convenient to have the computer. So it still sucks when you lose it, right? That's
Of
all.
course, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, which is kind of the point, I guess, full circle with Labyrinth, where it's not a very accessible game. I guess is my point,
No.
and obtaining it legally would probably cost an absolute fortune and take forever.
Like when you
And
get your C64 up and running, you can just throw it on there.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to find on eBay. It's yeah, I mean, but that's
Well,
all
because
we
it's
can.
David
That's all we.
Bowie, right? It's impossible to find.
And it's just like big box games have gone, like right with prices. I mean, this is like like look at how like Zack McCracken Maniac Mansion boxes are. So I can't imagine Labyrinth because it's harder to
Mhm.
find. But I mean, I haven't looked in like a year, but when I was really into it. But anyway, point is, we can only obviously advocate legal means of obtaining games and something. So I guess just nobody ever play it and no dancing and stop smiling.
Exactly.
But that being said, the party's over. That's all I got. Unless Anna has more. That was rude of me. Do you have any more, Anna? I'm sorry.
No, not for that year. I mean, I got a stack of like 8 games sitting beside me, and I've talked about all of them. I've hit a few nostalgia points. I've told some stories. I've listened to your stories wherever they may go. I think I feel pretty satisfied. Again, with everybody understanding that we're trying to get the episode out rather last minute, and perhaps you can all feel comforted in the fact that we also do things last minute. Now that's good. That makes everybody feel at home. We all are running around last minute trying to get stuff done so that everybody can have what they need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for better or worse. I think maybe firing from the hip was a little more difficult with a couple of years to manage, and then every time we hit a game, it's like, oh, just kidding, that didn't really come out this year because porting and everything's confusing right now with software or hardware. I mean, and so yeah, it was we we got there to just go easy on us. We're getting it together for the new year. We're gonna get back on the on our schedule here. Thank you for putting up with us, and you appreciate you guys for that for real because it's been a little inconsistent. We're aware of that. We're addressing the bloody elephant in the room. We're gonna get there. Ball Blazer Rescue on Fraculus came out in '84. I was Lucasfilm too. I wanted to say that. So thank you to our Patreons for. No, wait, that's not how I do the ending. Oh no,
Well,
I don't
wait,
want to edit
before you
this.
go in the editing, I'm going to say to our lovely listeners, it's mentioned before, it doesn't appear you can send the podcast a message through our Facebook podcast page. A few people have mentioned that they're unable to do so. I don't know how pages work, but listen close because Paul's going to give you information about the email
What?
address, and then you can always hit us up on Twitter,
Oh.
and you can probably hit us up on Instagram. It's obviously trickier to do so in Facebook. You can always tag us, Classic Gamers Guild podcast in the Classic Gamers Guild if you happen to be in there. Tag us randomly in Facebook from one of your other groups. I don't know, maybe a Red Dwarf group or Douglas Adams group. That's fine too. So, Paul, why don't you give him the deets?
Okay, I'm glad. Okay, that was guys. You scared me for a second, but yeah, what you're asking of me, I do have written down in front of me. So, um, thanks for listening. You can find us on Facebook in addition to those other bloody places Anna mentioned. We're there. We're a page and a grouping. Come say hello. Classic Gamers Guild on Facebook. You can check us out on Twitter. You can send us a message on Twitter. We definitely get those at CGG Podcast. I'm not saying like if you don't have Twitter, it's not, we're not worth signing up for to send a message because you can do the email and that's just coming up. So at CGG Podcast is Twitter. Anna runs that. I think unless there's a P at the end of what was said, because I rarely do. It's pretty much Anna. You can say hi to her there. Send us a message. She'll get it and tell us all about it. Instagram is also CGG Podcast. If you want to say hello to me, I'm on Twitter sometimes at Phantom Fellows. Our email, mail@classicgamersguild.com. Send us an email there. Mail@classicgamersguild.com. Just saying it one more time for clarity, because it's like what they did in those old 800 numbers. And then become a Patreon. Oh, right. Sorry, we kind of went like a little autopilot
We
there.
have a new Patreon. Wait, we have a new Patreon person. You'll have to announce this.
Yeah, we do.
Because
Yeah. Is it
you
Steven?
got that, right? No, it was Jeremy. Hold on.
Fuck.
I will
I
get
gambled.
a brand new Patreon. I don't even think we had this person before. There we are. New, it's Jeremy Scruggs. You rock. I know you're in the Classic Gamers Guild.
Oh,
I've seen you
awesome.
around. You're a new $5 Patreon, and we super duper appreciate you and any other people Paul might mention now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Jeremy's beta tested Phantom Fellows, the first wave of beta testing. He was awesome. So thank you so much for supporting, man. That is amazing. And actually, I'm going to be hitting you up pretty soon for another wave of testing if you're into it. If you're not, that's cool too. I get it.
No, you're
That was
going
a
to
lot.
want to. You totally want to. Yeah.
You. I mean, come on. So the Patreon thing. I mean, I don't know what to say. Except for I haven't checked it, right? Because you were gonna say I was gonna say other names. We got. I think that's it. We're gonna rearrange our tiers, but I think for now we just have the addition and nothing else to add. If there is a special thanks one that I'm missing, then I am the worst, because that's the one thing we're supposed to do with that tier. But I'm pretty sure there's not. Doesn't matter about all the tier stuff. Just a huge thank you to all of our patrons. There's a lot more of you than I that's believable. It's weird. You look at that and you're like, wow, that's amazing. It's really cool. So I appreciate it, guys, because this is it's a lot of fun for us. But man, yeah, we are squeezing them in. So it means a lot to know that there's like all that support, and you guys really kind of want us to keep doing it, because when things get really hectic, like the last 2 months, that's when we're like, should we? And then I look at the amount of patrons there are, and I'm like, okay, so we should. So thank you, guys. Appreciate you very much, and love you guys. And that's it. I'm totally done. I think. Oh, go wishlist our game, please. That'd be cool. It's the Phantom Fellows. It's on Steam. If you don't want to play it or buy it, that's cool. Maybe wishlist it anyway, though, or vice versa. If you're like, I don't want to wishlist it, but I'll buy it, then you know what? Fair enough. Um, no one to fold. I'll take it. And also maybe leave the podcast for a review, because, like, listen, guys, it's time we had that talk. All right. I don't want to be the review guy, but we've had one review on iTunes for 100, almost 200 episodes. All right. So, and there's there's a lot more of you than used to be. There's plenty of you. I don't need more, right? We are content, but it would be nice to, have more. So that being said, buddy, there's not enough of you for us for in 2 weeks from now for us to not have noticed that nobody did it. All right, so I'm putting one of the 300 of you on the spot. All right, next week, please let me see a review. I was going to say it better, but that's not how you talk to
Nice
listeners.
people.
Yeah,
These nice people.
You listen to me, you really beautiful people. No, maybe just one review, and next week I'll update everybody. I'm going to manipulate you all like a child. We're going to make a game out of it, and next week I'm going to read out how many reviews we got, and we'll know how good you guys all did.
That's right. Were you paying
So,
attention? We'll find out.
yeah, so if you just told me to get fucked and you'd stop the podcast, that's also fair. But please leave
That's
us a
also
review.
guessing that people have stayed this long at this point.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's not a amount of them, right? Because we gave a game away last time we did this. If you're here this long for that, what are your intentions? All right, make sure they're pure, because we don't have a game this week.
I got nothing.
But do leave us a review. This some weeks we give, other weeks we take. Man, just one. I've said it before though, and I'm wrapping up now, I promise. But when I say all this leave a review nonsense, that's only if it's going to be a good one. No, that's only if it's going to be 5 stars. That's all I want. Don't If you're going to leave less than 5, just never mind. I'm so sorry to have wasted everyone's time. Who wants a less than 5-star review? We've only got one. Like, a 1-star review would cripple us. would be ruined financially. The
Oh,
negative
we
$2
have
or $4 I pay every month when you
we
add
have
up
reviews on
Podbean
Apple.
and Clean
Yeah,
Sheet.
we
Yeah,
do
I
have
just
reviews. Look us up. I looked. I found 4 so far. So
I've got
4
4. Okay,
reviews.
I'm sorry I said 1. Sometimes I exaggerate because it's fun, but it's very few reviews for how many
It's
listeners you
very
guys have been
few.
doing this. Just saying.
I just learned they want to hear more about Accolade, Microprose, and Westwood. I'm okay,
Oh, I
Terry
want to talk
Hansen
about all
from
those.
Apple Podcasts. I totally want to talk about Accolade, Microprose, and Westwood. Thank you for bringing those companies up. Great idea.
Dude, that is awesome. Wait, is Terry? How many stars, Terry? How many stars you give us?
4 point. We got a 5 out of 5 from Terry. Go, Terry.
Dude, Terry, we're doing the episode. This is this. If I was Oprah, this would be you winning a car, but I'm not. So we're doing the episode. That's the best I
Gonna
can do.
happen.
Yeah, that
Great.
sounds
We
like an
always need
awesome
new
episode.
ideas. So thanks
Yeah,
for
because
sharing.
and we have something down in our notes thing where it's like a developer spotlight, and all 3 of those are listed examples. But it's like I always skip over it because I don't think we can do an episode on any one of them. Because and
Hmm.
again, that it's not because they're not amazing, blah blah blah. It's like we do need some experience with what we're talking about, just 1 or 2 each from
Yeah.
each company, right? So it's like, with Westwood, I played the first Cryrandria, and I played Blade Runner, but like that, blah blah blah. So anyway, Terry's got an awesome idea where we could mash them up. Let's say
Hmm.
whether it's two or all 3 of those, but yeah, awesome. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for the reviews. I mean, I thought we had 1 review, and I was just told we had 4, so we can all just pretend that I got 3 this week, and we're even. Just forget about the whole. Just call it off.
No, we still want more. We need.
We do, we
We have.
do.
Yeah, we're not like
Yeah, it'd
running.
be
It's
nice.
not like we have low self confidence or anything, but at the same time, it's nice to feel validated. We're sitting here going, "Well, this is pretty good." We want to hear that you maybe think so too.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you don't think it is, again, please don't leave bad reviews. No, you have free will. Do whatever you want. Purposely leave a bad one because I asked you not to. That's what I would have wanted to do at 14. I don't know. I'm not sure I was that much of a dick. All right, listen, we're gonna let you all go. There's still no free game, but there will be one of these times. There will be, but now there's not. So don't do a murder.